Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We want to welcome you to the Psychology and Spirituality Bridge to Better Life podcast based on the works by Joanna de Angelis. We meet weekly to explore this crossroad, this intersection, if you will, of psychology and spirituality with the focus of uncovering those pieces, those nuggets, those gems that we find, those timeless wisdom that can help us with meaning and purpose in our lives. My name is Marcia Trajano, and with me is Yuri Castro, my dear friend. Welcome back, Yuri. How are you doing today?
Thank you so much, Marcia. I'm doing very well. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone listening or watching us.
Very good. Thank you. So, Yuri, today I would like to talk about why family life can feel so complicated to so many of us. Why, for example, there are certain patterns that keep repeating, and I'm talking generationally speaking, right? We inherit from our parents, we inherited from their parents, so on and so forth. So today, I would like to explore with you, Yuri, the mission, if you will, of the family through the teachings of Joanna de Angelis. And my thoughts are threefold, but of course, it's a conversation. Perhaps exploring the bonds that connect parents, children, and siblings. Another point could be how, when we talk about emotional conflicts, if they remain repressed, unresolved, right, hidden away, how they affect those relationships, not only at home, but beyond the home environment. And if we can close with some practical insights, I'd love to hear from you from your practice, from your knowledge as well. How can we leave today with some nuggets about healing, understanding, and even strengthening our families? Shall we start?
Absolutely. I'm excited.
So, I have a question for you. Yuri, how does Spiritism view the family as this karmic and evolutionary unit? Right, there is a those are the bonds that put us together. But how does it evolve or help us grow?
Great question, Marcia. I think, just to clarify, when we're talking karmic, we're talking karma and this idea that everything that, goes around comes around, this idea of action
Mhm.
and reaction as Spiritism has taught us so well. So, yes, it is. If we think of a karmic unit as a way to describe the family, we can think that we have done things in the past or things have been done to us in the past, and therefore we need to be in a certain family to make sure we're strengthening those ties, or we are righting the wrongs that we have done or that others have done towards us. So there's always this big purpose from the standpoint of the love of our Father, our Heavenly Father, that
Mhm.
the family can be considered this karmic, quote unquote, karmic unit in the lens of Spiritism, meaning the people that I have around me, my parents, if I have siblings, or in my case, I have children, all of those interconnections are spirits that more often than not have been connected in the past and now are continuing in this journey. And like you said, also this evolutionary unit, because
Yeah.
we are always marching forward. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree. It's so interesting, and we've had a couple of guests here to talk about their children and how they came in a dream to before they even knew they were pregnant, right? They come back in a dream, and can you imagine that? And just almost
Yeah.
like knocking at the door from a spiritual perspective, telling, "Hey, I'm here, and you're going to be my father, or you're going to be my mother." I love that. And in fact, a dear friend, this is decades ago, her child is already ready to go to college. But And they tried and tried and tried to be pregnant, and they couldn't. And then, sure, there's this little girl that comes to her and say, "Hey, we're ready to come." And she said, later, we're talking about maybe when her daughter was 12, it matched the dream that she had so many
Wow.
years prior. And I love that, right? That bond that unites us all before you're ever born, right? So love it, love it,
Be-
love it. Yeah.
Before and also with the purpose, everything
Yes.
as we talked about, even in previous episodes here, there's always a purpose for our reincarnation. And when we think reincarnation, we're thinking of the spirit that is an immortal spirit
Hmm.
coming
Hmm.
back into an earthly body
Yeah.
to continue on his journey, his or her journey. So therefore we can think of the family as being this evolutionary unit, because we're all trying to evolve as a unit. We're all trying to evolve as this group of spirits, of immortal
Yes.
spirits,
Yeah.
who are on the same path to improvement.
Yeah. And I started by saying that why is it so complicated, right? Can we maybe talk about it? Is this because there is that karmic, and you say quote unquote, right? Because karma, we inherit the word from Eastern philosophies, but that
Yeah.
karmic bond, or is it because we hurt each other in the past, willingly or not? Or is it because of our psychological immaturity, or all of the above?
All of the above. We hurt each other more out of ignorance than out of just simply being evil. As Jesus
Yeah,
told Peter, human beings are more fragile than
yeah,
evil.
yeah,
So
yeah,
if we think about our fragilities, if we think about all the mistakes we have done in the past, and by the past, I mean, yes, a previous life or previous
yeah,
lives, plural.
yeah, yeah,
So we
yeah,
can think that there must be a way for us to give back or to amend those bonds
yeah,
that we ourselves have broken due to our ignorance, due to
yeah,
our misdeeds.
yeah,
And that is the family. That's when people
yeah,
come together. And that's why we have so many families. There are high conflict families or high
yeah,
conflict units,
yeah,
because they have their history goes all the way back, and they have this sort of sometimes antipathies or even animosity, and they don't
yeah,
understand why,
yeah,
because in the current life they may not have done anything that would justify that sort of sentiment, that negative sentiment. But if we
yeah,
look through the eyes of spiritism, we're going to see that there is this karma, there is this thing that whatever goes around comes around, and we need to make the amend for the mistakes that we have made.
yeah. You remind me of this family. It's so funny, the dynamics, right, of that family, because it's a large family like mine. I think it was six plus people, children. And of course, we always talk about the black sheep. We have this. There's all the roles that we almost archetypical roles that we take on as a member of a larger unit. But in this case, mom and dad worked, and they did everything to provide. And there's one of the children that was always outside of the boundaries, if you will, or the limits of what this couple could do. And so, from a family dynamics, almost the story that kept repeating was they would all get together and speak about this one child, right? Oh,
Yeah.
there you go again. It's just this. This is the novel that kept. I
Mm-hmm.
guess it's not a novel. I would say a soap opera, right? A Mexican soap
Yeah.
opera, folks.
Yes.
Really dramatic. Just, oh, this is the new chapter. Oh, this is the new chapter. And I got to talking. I don't know if you know me enough in that realm, Yuri, but I'm very patient. I don't usually would confront, but in that time, I confronted the mother, right?
Uh,
Because she caved, as a mother usually does, to the needs. She would whatever. and then it becomes fodder for the family to talk about it as her venting for caving. So a lot of mixed feelings there. And I remember telling her, this is again long time ago, and I said, listen, right? And she did not believe in reincarnation, by the way. Listen, I believe in reincarnation, and I don't care if you do or not. But apparently, you owe this person something that is now expressed by this spirit in this incarnation to ask for so much, right? There's this sense of I'm not saying starvation, but lacking, right? There's this need for something to be filled. It's your choice to do
Hmm.
it, but if you do it, stop talking about it. And you know what, Yuri? Never
Uh,
again, never again. And actually, I don't know if I was inspired in that conversation because it's really not like me to be so strong to an older woman.
hmm.
She was much, much older than me at the time. But it kind of led to healing in the entire family. So I think we need to think about it. Am I adding to the problem, or am I solving the problem? Knowing, as you said, we come together with a purpose. But in addition to all of this that is age old, right, as old as humanity itself, we have to perhaps think about it. Modern families, they do face challenges more, in my opinion, uh, like emotional disconnection, right? So that's number one. Number two is maybe the idea of conflicts over, like this example, of material priorities or even social priorities. And I'm including the proverbial that we keep seeing the evil of this, but it's not, folks. But the social media, the whole appearance, those are social priorities that is becoming on top of the relationship, right? Those connections, and of course, because of the distancing, because of the disconnection, because of those conflicts, we are now seeing that those affectionate, right, affective bonds are weak.
Hmm.
And this is one point. The counterpoint to that is that as we read from Joanna, as we read, you mentioned Spiritism and its body of work, we are reminded that families, it has this immense potential to heal,
Oh,
right? To
yes.
teach, to guide us toward this emotional and psychological maturity. So I wonder if we could maybe talk about, from your perspective, what are the main psychological conflicts that you see happening within the families today, or that perhaps because we are both students of Joanna de Angelis, but that Joanna de Angelis brought it up as well.
A great point, Marcia, because there are, we know psychological conflicts are tied to spiritual, but if we just stick to the psychological
Yeah,
piece of this puzzle, let's call it, of these conflicts that arise in family, we can think of things like you already mentioned mentioned social media. So maybe like
hmm,
the role of the of distraction of, how much attention should I give to this child, or how much attention should I give to this parent. And there
yeah,
are all these psychological conflicts that can come, as well as how much should I how much time should I spend or invest in my career versus being with my children.
hmm,
The
yeah,
balance. I feel like striking the balance
mm,
creates a lot of psychological burden, because parents, oftentimes we see them strive, and Joanna talks about this, we see them strive to grow
mm,
professionally, grow, but then at what
yeah,
point is that just ambition, like personal sort of selfish
yeah.
ambition, versus, oh, I just want to provide more for my family,
And this
for
is
my
a
children.
if I interrupt you here, yeah, without interrupting your train of thought, but this is huge,
Yeah.
right? The push and pull, the positive and the pros and cons here, everyone. The positive is it's much better, in my opinion, being judgmental here, Yuri. Don't judge me for being judgmental, but the pros is to see that mother and father united in that. That resolve. I'm going to work, I'm going to provide to the best of my ability, better than one that is neglecting, right? The child. So
Yes.
this is good, but if we
Hmm.
flip to it, when it's exacerbated, when it is become, and you mentioned greed, right?
Yeah.
And we can even talk about a highly competitive society that we all live in, how putting a mix of materialism, another mix of individualism, and a more of consumism, it is a terrible soup to digest, if you will. But if you look into this, culturally speaking, how we are more and more pushed to not just provide and do the best for the children, but to be the best in the competitive landscape of a professional life, whatever it may be. And that puts you to uh, prioritize the wrong, right? Prioritize the that professional context versus the familiar context.
Yeah.
Back to you. Sorry if I interrupted you.
No, no, great point. We made a parenthesis. I don't think you interrupted. It was just a parenthesis because it is true. The balance is key as always, Marcia. And I
Yeah,
think that a lot of the
yeah,
times, like I was saying, how much you mentioned, also in my practice with families and things that are not related to spiritism, but a lot of the times we see parents just striving to, like I said,
yeah, yeah,
oh, I want to give the best to my children, so I'm working extra shifts and I'm
yeah.
working extra hours, and in the end you're not giving attention or love to your child because you think that just because you're able to provide an extra trip at the end of the year, what about the
Hmm.
rest of the year that you could have been with your child and you didn't because you're working, because you thought that was best? So
Yeah, yeah,
that's something I think for all of us who have families to try to reflect and see
yeah,
how much psychological conflict is arising from, let's say, guilt. Oh, I'm not giving enough, or I'm not
yeah,
being a good father, I'm not being this enough, I'm not being a good enough husband. So the famous good enough,
yeah,
not being
yeah.
that. So I think a lot of psychological conflicts can arise from that as well. I don't know, what do you think?
I love that you're going there. Back to that family, right? Maybe the good enough is not good enough, right? Because that spirit that is born in that family, no matter how much you do, it's never enough because there's this, how can I say, this vacuum, this hole that the
Yeah.
spirit, unbeknownst to the current personality and history, doesn't know, but there's this craving for more. And that craving may be, I need more attention, I need more material things, I need more opportunities, I need more consoling. And you've seen that. I don't know if you've seen that in your practice, but there is that. And there is the other aspect, which is, and this is very mm, important to me because I mentioned this before, everyone. I'm a recovering workaholic, right? So this discussion really, it's right here in my heart. It just gets to me in a very uncomfortable manner, but I am, and and it was this balance. Did I do too much? Did I become a workaholic because I needed to provide? And did the need to provide became workaholism, if you will, because I needed to compete, or egoically speaking, right? Or that was the only way to survive. I don't know, but my source of consolation is I gave my all, Yuri. And this is for anyone who's here with us that may be falling for neglect, a conflicted environment, or workaholic parents. It doesn't matter. If we see that we're doing our best, our all, based on what we know, right? Because it's also what I learned from my that generational from my family,
Hmm.
right? And my cultural environment, because it is different. If you're bored, I don't know, I'm just going to pick up a country here in, what's a good one? In Saudi Arabia versus China versus the US, even in the case of the US, the southern versus northern, etc. Very different contextually
Yeah.
speaking. And how do parents, and I'm not talking about mother, father, adopted father, whatever, right? Those contexts are the given the best may not be considered the best for the child, but is the one consolation. I gave my all. I could always done better, right, Yuri? Always. There is never a perfect mother, perfect father,
No.
but it is the sense this is perfect to me because that's all I had.
And also, there's while we're still here, there's always time to make changes too. That's something that
True. Yeah.
sometimes we, oh, for the last 5 years I
Ah,
neglected my child. Is okay, you're still here, they're still there, like make changes. I think
yeah.
that there's, if we dwell too much on the past, we lose sight of the present. So we can't be just
Yeah.
looking back and regretting and whipping ourselves in the back, the lashings for because we did
Yeah.
poorly or it was not enough, we thought it was enough. But the thing is,
Yeah.
there's always time to make these changes. So these reflections are very much, like, think in
Yeah.
line with this idea of making the changes, and that we can, now that we have more knowledge, and looking inward to see, am I giving my all, like you said, am I truly giving my
Yeah.
all, or
Yeah.
am I giving what I think society deems to be
Yeah.
good, and
Yeah.
and not, but not what my children actually need.
Yeah, and I think it's funny. I don't know why. I don't know why, but The Great Gatsby came to me uh, because if we in this if we think about it, novel, right, fiction. Um, but if we discuss parenthood as this moral failure when it is embedded with emotional neglect, right? But I think the topic of that novel, it's all about how emotionally irresponsible and self-absorbed, in that case, very wealthy parents are, right? But I think we need to maybe think about ourselves, right? Am I being morally irresponsible? Am I being self-absorbed in whatever path I am, or am I using the construct of a family to really learn? Because it's all about learning and growing together, right? How can I do this? And I wanted to throw something to you, just for for the sake of amusement or picking up on the conversation. But what about children of those wealthy, Great Gatsby like uh, parents that they don't have time in this case because they're socially unavailable, right? But despite if it is because of work and professional life or social, we see sometimes that some children, they end up growing up with that maternal paternal bonds being outsourced to paid caregivers,
Yeah.
right? And how do you think, is this a something that may impact their psychological emotional well-being, right?
It probably will impact, or probably has impacted, as
Yeah.
Joanna says so well. These are, even though they may have the best of intentions, these
Mhm.
are professionals. These are people that will maybe teach a lesson, but not necessarily give it with love, or not with the love that the child needs. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's called outsourcing, right? When we
Yeah.
outsource
Yeah.
that aspect that is so important for our evolutionary unit,
Yeah.
it becomes a danger. But again, the key word here, I think, is balance. It's
Yeah.
balance. Am I
Yeah.
outsourcing all of the attention that my child needs and all the playtime and all the driving to after school programs, whatever, to someone else? That education, all tutors, they are surrounded by
Mm.
very skilled and caring professionals, but that none of them can ever replace a parent. None of them,
Well,
because
back to the family got together with a purpose, right? So those spirits that are together,
yeah.
there's a purpose. So we I'm gonna be crude here. We don't breed for only for the continuation of the human species,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
We have
Yeah.
children because within that familial unit based in love and education, we're also healing some areas or aspects that we bring into that environment.
Absolutely. So when we go too much to the extreme, it can become neglect as well, even though it doesn't
Yeah,
seem like
yeah,
neglect from an
yeah,
outside
yeah,
perspective. Like, oh, they're
yeah,
giving everything to their children. They have all of these professionals around them 24/7. But what about the parents? What about the
yeah,
the
yeah,
actual love, the actual attention, the actual
yeah, yeah,
care that
yeah,
those spirits are meant to have between one another? And now we're outsourcing all of that. To what extent? So I can
yeah,
get my child I don't know that this example I've used actually. So I can give my child the latest iPhone because
yeah,
I worked extra to be able to
yeah,
afford that. But what if they have the same phone they have now, and I gave them more time instead of giving my
yeah,
time to get more
yeah,
money to purchase something else? So
yeah, yeah,
it's the balance. Again, we go
yeah,
back to this idea of balancing these professional responsibilities, or balancing the professional ambition and the actual or the social life of the parents, as
yeah,
you mentioned with the great Gatsby,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
with the needs of the family.
Yeah, the Great Gatsby comes to my mind as, and this is unfair to everybody, including including the writer, right, and characters of the
Fitzgerald,
novel.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Um, the fact that Great Gatsby, which we could say the royalty of the wealthy of the jazz age, right? That time in where there was incredible wealth, but I see that potential fictionalized relationship of self-absorption and neglect and outsourcing the care of the children also in potentially, and this is again judgment here, everyone, those in America, right? Royalty is those famous actors and actresses, performers, etc., singers that amass a lot of power, image, influence, etc., but they need to be gone a lot, right? In concerts
Yeah.
or movie, and I just keep thinking how difficult it must be to be able to put on quote unquote the show, not quote unquote, it literally the show, right? Putting on a show, and but to do that, my child loses a week without with me, which is akin to the latest gadget, electronic or not, that is out there. And that
Yeah.
can be even the bigger house. It can be, there's so many material trappings, right? The bigger
Oh yeah.
house, the bigger resort that I go visit, or the longer that I go, and all of those are in this budget of financial means and time that we need to understand what is it that we're doing and what are we not doing to be able to do that, right? Yeah,
Yeah, and always remembering the psychological ties that bind us
yeah,
all. Like
yeah, yeah,
everything has a purpose. We are here with a
yeah,
purpose. We have our family. There's a
yeah,
purpose behind that, and the purpose is to evolve, because
yeah,
our heavenly Father is one of mercy and eternal love. So we are here for a reason, and we must strike that balance
yeah,
before getting too lost in the or getting lost in excess in the things of the world, all
yeah,
of the glitter, all the glamour, all of
Yeah.
For those who have lots of money, everything that you can purchase, but I can purchase more, I can purchase a second one, I can purchase a better one, I can
Yeah.
upgrade. And we go in this materialistic, and you said consumism, like this materialistic side of
Yeah.
us that we still have, and then we may end up neglecting our children, or neglecting our parents, neglecting
Yeah.
our siblings, our
Yeah.
spouses, and
Yeah.
that's the danger, I think.
Yeah. And for everyone, you're not alone, right? We're all victims of this art and science of the sale, right? We
Oh
are
yes.
more and more taken by the glitter, the movement, the lights, the music, if you will, all the orchestration of creation of desire. So it is something that we, societally speaking, become really good at it. And we, society, members of society, become victims of that. It's okay, but we're here talking about it. So we can no longer claim ignorance, but it is really well crafted, and it just captures us. And after a while, go like, oh, what? How did I get so behind in what I need to do? But let's maybe spend a few minutes before we start closing in our conversation today to talk about the perhaps the root cause, if you will, of those. And we talked a little bit about it, but I would like to go deeper, perhaps, on those psychological conflicts in the family, right? And we're talking about. Our egoic constructs. We talked about our unmet needs. We talked about generational patterns. But can we maybe just get a view of what are those psychological conflicts in the family, and how can we learn enough about ourselves so that we can do better, right?
Yeah, the know thyself that we already when you
Yeah.
mention it, I have to think of that, this
Yeah.
this journey of self-discovery. Because if we just keep things under the rug, or if we just sweep the stuff under the rug, it's still going to be there.
Yeah.
It's going to form a mound that's going
Yeah.
to become bigger and bigger and bigger. So those conflicts, when they are rising, either conflicts that are personal conflicts, meaning like things that are individual to me, or conflicts that are more collective conflicts and things like that can arise. And if we don't address them, if we don't treat them, it's like you said, they're still going to be there, and we're going to be seeing those conflicts erupt and the problems erupt in family, as we have seen so
Hmm.
much, even nowadays. I think that with technology, it's impossible not to mention, like, technology, like you said, social media, all these things that are
Hmm.
pulling the worst from us as well, and we're
Yeah.
becoming,
Interesting.
we're
Yeah.
falling
Yeah.
prey or becoming victims to those things, and with these psychological conflicts that we don't even sometimes are not even aware of.
Yeah, and I often, this is a side note, everyone. I am on a personal note. I undergoing this difficult cycle in my life of seeing my parents and in-laws aging, and in some cases dealing with extreme cognitive decline, where uh, you may not even recognize your spouse or your children. But I was just over the weekend going through seeing, despite all of the construct of your personality in this case, without the memory of to contextualize how I act in the social filters. It was so beautiful, Yuri, to see this person. Um, Despite all of that, could not remember anything else but the docility, the gentility, the respect to others that this person was always there, right? And I thought, oh,
Yeah.
that's what I want for me. I want, when I no longer remember anything, what remains is a gentle heart. It's a respectful heart, and I think maybe when we're talking here, it made me remind me, because we carry so much. If you were to take all the filters, if we're taking even your memory, what? does it stay in our hearts? What percolates? What is that day to day that is the core of who you are? And so, back to what you said, know thyself, it is so important, especially from a when we talk about psychology, right? If you have the courage, and this is an invitation for all of us, including myself, to have the courage to look at yourself and peel away not only the masks, the filters, but also the fear of looking at everything that is not, that we don't like about ourselves, so that we can heal those pockets of repressed memories, or even repressed, judged, and tucked away aspects of who we are.
Yes, absolutely. Because the more we know ourselves, or the more we have the courage to look inward,
Yeah,
the more able we will be to deal with the conflicts, to be able to, first of all, know what they are,
yeah,
realize that they're there,
yeah,
and then ask ourselves, okay, what do I need to do now to
yeah,
improve? Reminding ourselves that we are on this journey to evolve. Nobody here
yeah,
is perfect. Nobody on this earth has achieved the plenitude of the spirit of a Christ yet. Nobody. We're all full of mistakes, full of of junk under our rugs, and
yeah.
we must be able to peek in and start to remove that, and start to understand what's going on and process that.
Yeah, and I love what you said, because plenitude to me is, it's the word that defines Jonah D'Angelis, right? She's always bringing about this plenitude that is for all of us, right? The sense of being whole, being full, if you will. But what is so interesting is also from Jonah D'Angelis is that she is, regardless of what book you're reading, she always brings this notion that the moments of conflicts, the challenges, the difficulties, the painful moments as well, are really our best opportunity to understand and reconcile with ourselves, to start that emotional healing. Because when everything is masked and filtered and touched up, we don't see it, right? It's almost, if you think, and this is again maybe another crude, and I apologize in advance, but maybe that person that is beautifully made up, like I'm talking about as a woman, as a aged woman, right? Where just beautiful, and your hair is done, and not only I think it was actually another image that came to my mind that I thought was funny. Jane Fonda, as you know, she's in her 80s, and
Uh-huh.
she was not so long ago in a series, Frankie and Grace, Grace and Frankie, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Right. And there's one scene that I thought it was so difficult to watch, because she's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman, but and she's facing the mirror, and then she starts to take
Oh yeah.
off. Did you see? Do you remember that? The extensions
No.
to make her hair fuller, right? So she started and take one and take all, and it was just this very almost slow motion in my mind, at least, of that. And then she goes in, and there's a thing that she had underneath her hair that pulled her skin. So she took it out, and the skin just sags, and then she takes, right, and she goes into that, and then takes away and becomes raw, in this case, the woman in her 80s. And I thought, wow, what a powerful, powerful image. And so from a Joanna D'Angelis is, we got to see those, so that in this case, not in the series, everyone, but let's pretend that there is a scar, right? And I'm talking about here scar, physical, but alluding to an emotional scar,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's this huge scar, And in this unveiling of the age, I'm also taking away the makeup that hides away that scar. And that scar, facing that scar to myself and to the world, perhaps, is really important in that know thyself, that self discovery, that self healing process, right? So I just thought maybe we can comment about it. Lots of movie allusions here. Sorry,
But
everyone.
no, the example you gave of Jane Fonda, that's I think shows the
uh,
courage to look, and you have to look
yeah,
in the mirror. You have to be able to know the true self. You have to be able to know self is lower s,
yeah,
lowercase s. But the idea of like you have to be able to know what you truly are, like what
yeah,
your conflicts are, because then you can address them. If we just spend all the energy, all the effort trying to hold this mask
yeah,
of I'm all good, like I'm all this, I'm all that. It's just gonna be like that makeup. It's gonna be things that fade away, and then
yeah,
what we left after we live this, after we leave this earth, this body at least, and we go back to the spirit plane. What do we have? What have we acquired with ourselves?
yeah,
What have we changed within ourselves? How have we changed the family around us, the blessing of a family unit? How much impact have we done, and
mhm,
how much time and effort have we spent
yeah,
in that family unit?
yeah. So just finalize because I mentioned that we would. Let's talk a little bit about some tips on healing all those wounds and those conflicts and those paradoxes, if you will, between I give it all, but there is a starvation mode in one of the two. It can be the mother to the child to the mother, right? It can be either direction. How can we apply some of the teachings that Joanna the Angels in this case gives to us in some of her work? Can we talk a little bit about it? Right? I can
Yes, I
start. I can start, right?
no,
Just simple gestures, everyone, right? Just
yeah.
simple gesture of saying I love you and mean it. I have to tell you, generation speaking, and I spoke over you, so my apologies, Yuri. But before my mom passed, and as you know, she's Brazilian, and she spent many months, 4 months in total, in the intensive care just before she passed, and so I went to see her 5 times. It was just very difficult period of me. But crazy Marcia, because in the US, it's very common for me to say, I love you, right? Not for my mother's generation,
Oh
not for
wow.
her, right? And so I said, okay, in Portuguese, I would say, I'm here, I love you. And she would respond. And this went on for the whole duration of while she was there and she was coming back, and then she recovered for a few moments before she passed. And it was so funny because that was my way to say I love you. I'm verbalizing, I'm here for you. And then the joke became everybody start to do the same. I have a big family, everybody. And then the next joke, Yuri, was who is she going to say I love you back?
Oh.
Ah, right. So finally, one day she says, me too in English, not in her native tongue. Me too. And I'm like, "Ugh, that doesn't work, Mom. You got to say it." And one day she said it, and it was this burst of applause. Ha! You can say, you can verbalize. I'm not saying that you need to go because I think it's disrespectful if you think about it for me to push upon my culture norms into my mom. But what are the simple gestures, right? Is it caressing? Is it a kiss? Is it
Yeah.
a hug? Things like that. But tell me more. Do you have any practical tips for us to heal those wounds?
To heal those wounds, I think from a macro standpoint, I was thinking first
Mhm.
remembering that we're all immortal spirits. We've had a past before. We'll have a future. We'll have a future together as well. So
Yeah.
having that sort of viewpoint, I think, changes a lot, because then I can focus. Okay, I'm here to evolve just like they are. So what can I do? And I utilize. We can utilize the same thing you said. Start with small gestures.
Yeah.
Start with small changes. Don't go and try to uh, turn your life upside down and make all these big changes, because we see that sometimes it's hard to keep them up. So start with small changes, expressing love in your own way, being
Mhm.
able to be there for your children or for your parents or for your
Yeah.
siblings, just being there for them in what they need, and
Yeah.
understanding what people need might be different than what you think that they need. So I think that's a big tip that I have as well for
Yeah.
people wanting to, unlock these like you said, the
Yeah.
secrets, the secrets of these spiritual secrets of the family,
Yes.
family
Yes.
ties.
And to me, if I expand a little bit what you say, guidance, right?
Yeah,
What a gift. And I'm reminded of Saint Francis of Assisi, right? When he said, teach the gospel, the good
yeah,
news that Jesus brought to us every opportunity, and when needed, use your words. So to me, that's a profound teaching in terms of how we must teach by example. How do we demonstrate, say, patience, honesty, compassion, vulnerability? But those ethical and moral guidance are really key for us to to present our children, right?
yeah. Perfect. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Basically, just
Yes, yes.
instead of preaching, especially for parents now, instead of preaching, be the example, be that change,
Yeah,
show the
yeah,
difference.
yeah, yeah, beautiful. And I think you mentioned this before, right? Use the conflict as a gift to see reconciliation and forgiveness now, not next time we're together
Now,
as a family. Now, address them gently, and there's no need to grand gestures of we're going to stop everything to deal with this
yeah,
conflict. Let's do it gently. How do I understand? Again, St. Francis come to my mind. How do I understand more than seek to be understood? So on and so forth. Right.
perfect. Love that.
So we are at the end of our time. I could stay talking to you forever because I love our conversations, Yuri. Do you have any final thoughts before we conclude today?
Know that everything happens for a reason, and the reason is love.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And I just would say, um, right, what is my contribution? um, let's be the active agent in that familial dynamics, right? How can I
Yes.
contribute to ensure happiness? If there is no happiness possible, harmony. If it's harmony is not possible, understanding. If understanding is not even possible, how can I, with all that I know, be the agent of our evolution and growth, right? How can we perhaps even transform our homes, that whatever is the status of the home it is today, it's for all of us to think about it and give it like I baseline today I am a one, let's say jokingly, but how can I transform it to a two or a three or 5 out of 5 stars, right? How can I ensure there's love? How can I ensure there is education of our
Yeah.
souls collectively and individually, or even our spiritual growth and awakening, right? So, for everyone out there, thank you for being with us. Thank you for listening, right? It's all about this discussions that is really, it touches us all when we talk about family. And if this is the first time you're here with us, just be reminded that the Psychology and Spirituality weekly talks are based on the works by Joanna de Angelis, and we hope that we're able to convey some of her beautiful teachings about family today. And I would like to thank you, Yuri, for being here with me. I forever grateful. I also want to thank our sponsors, Mansão do Caminho, the United States Spiritist Federation, the International Spiritist Council, and AMI Brazil. AMI Brazil is the Brazilian arm of the Global Medical Spiritist Association. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everyone. Until next time.